Homework. Okay, so starting 57. Now I don't have these in front of me. I'm hoping that y'all can say these correctly without me having to look them up. But I don't think this should be an issue. So number 57A should be what p value? 2.262. 57 is what? 2 point what? 861. Your degrees of freedom is 19, and you're using that. Both of these it gives you in, and you have to find your degrees of freedom. 58, you get what is A? 1.7 what? 1.796. Are these the same ones from the notes? These numbers sound familiar. And then 58B is what? 2.045. Any questions with looking at that chart? I can't remember if it was, maybe it was during my fourth period yesterday. Somebody called out the wrong answer and I didn't catch it until sixth period, but I don't think it was on the video I recorded. So 59 and 60 are talking about the margin of error, or the standard error. I want to go over, I did this in some of my classes yesterday. I don't think I did it on the video. I like to kind of do this periodically anyway. Give me the generic equation if we are dealing with Z. Starting with this part. X bar what? So we're dealing with Z, then this is, and then this is what? Which one? And the only thing that changes is when we use our new equation, this is what instead? T, and this is S. Vocab, what is that number called? The very generic, what goes there? A confidence interval. What is your group's best guess at what the estimate would be? Is this, because there's one point that estimates the value you're trying to estimate. So whatever goes here is your point estimate. What do we call, what's the vocab for that? Whether it's a Z or a T. That's our critical value. It changes name a little bit, but in general, what is this? This is some form of standard deviation or standard error. This one is standard deviation of sampling mean of X bar. If we do it with S instead, it's standard error. And what is this whole section called? Everything after the plus minus is what? This is the homework we're going over. This whole thing is what? This is your point estimate. I'm asking about this line, which is margin of error. So you have to know those vocab because we're going to ask some questions that ask like if your critical value changes or if your margin of error or something. So you have to know what those different pieces are. So 59 says a medical study finds that X bar of 114.9, S of 9.3 for 27 members, so 27 will be your N. Says what is the standard error of the mean? You have to know which part is standard error. which is S over square root N. So our S is 9.3, our N is 27. 9.3 over 20, or over square root of 27 gives you what? 1.78 what? Say that right. Alright, so that's understanding those different vocab to be able to answer that question. It gives you more than you need. You don't even need to X bar for anything. Interpreting this value in context. I don't want to get too into that right now. I want you to get the general idea. One of these, I think you can look up at the back of the book as your answer. And I like part of the answer. Which does it give you the answer to? Odds or evens? Odds. I didn't want to talk about this one then. Just to have the conversation. It gives this as, in repeated sampling, the average distance between the sample means and the population mean will be about this much. That is basically saying the average that we are, the amount that we are wrong by will average by this much. I'm more worried about you getting the idea than having a definition for that. But usually we deal with margin of error instead, which takes this and multiplies it by what? It's up there. How is this different than margin of error? I multiply that by your critical value of 0 to get your margin of error. But this is basically the average distance that we are wrong by. But like I said, I just kind of want you to get an idea there. I'm not going to do a sentence for that. All right, and then 60, study of commuting times for the reports, travel times, sample of 20, set your N. Mean is 31.25 minutes, standard deviation of 21.88 minutes. What is the standard error? So again, it's concerned with, you know the definition. Your S here is 21.88. Your N is what? What's N for this one? And you get a standard error of what? 4.89 what, 5? And again, that's saying the average that we're wrong by, essentially. So the average that is the average amount that our sample means are different from our population mean. Questions on just generic with homework? Okay.